The manager was already caught. Already guilty. Already being fired. And that is exactly when he made his smartest move. He did not wait to be innocent before he acted wisely. He acted wisely because he had nothing left to lose. Luke 16 verse 8 says his own master praised the plan, even knowing exactly what it had cost him. You have been treating wisdom and honesty as the same virtue, waiting to feel spiritually qualified before you act decisively with what God has given you. Jesus told a story that does not support that assumption at all. He took a man who was actively stealing from his employer, in real time, with no attempt to hide it from the reader, and used him as the example of how urgently a crisis should be handled. Many of you will push back on this. Good. Because this is the single most uncomfortable parable Jesus ever told, and most teaching on it quietly skips past the actual point Jesus was making. Part 1. The manager was guilty before the story ever begins. Luke 16 verses 1 to 2. There was a rich man whose manager was accused of wasting his possessions. He called him in and asked, "What is this I hear about you? Give an account of your management, because you cannot be manager any longer." No investigation. No defense offered. The accusation stands unchallenged in the text. This man had already lost the trial before the story gives him a single line of dialogue. But here is what nobody told you. The Greek word for wasting here is diascorpison, the same root used to describe the prodigal son scattering his inheritance in a far country just 2 chapters earlier in Luke's Gospel. Luke uses this specific word deliberately, drawing a quiet parallel between 2 men who both handled resources recklessly. This manager was not skimming quietly off the top. He was recklessly hemorrhaging his master's wealth, and everyone around him already knew it before the confrontation happened. Part 2. His crisis produced calculation, not panic. Luke 16 verses 3 to 4. The manager said to himself, "What shall I do now? My master is taking away my job. I am not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. I know what I will do so that when I lose my job here, people will welcome me into their houses." Notice the order of his thinking. He names his physical limitation first. He names his social shame second. And in the same breath, without pausing between the 2 admissions, he produces a plan. He did not spend one line grieving the situation before moving straight to strategy. Think about that for a second. Most people facing exposure and termination spend their final hours in denial, blame, or paralysis, replaying the accusation, rehearsing excuses, or simply freezing under the weight of what is coming. This man spent his in arithmetic. He converted every remaining hour of authority into leverage before that authority was taken from him completely, wasting none of it on the emotions the situation would have justified. Part 3. He used his master's own resources to build his own future, one last time. Luke 16 verses 5 to 7. He called in each one of his master's debtors. He asked the first, "How much do you owe my master?" 800 gallons of olive oil, he replied. The manager told him, "Take your bill, sit down quickly, and make it 400. Then he asked another, 1,000 bushels of wheat. He told him, "Take your bill and make it 800. He was not authorized to do this. He did it anyway, using the last hours of a position that was already gone in every sense but the paperwork. Now stop. Many of you will push back on this. Good. Because this is genuinely dishonest behavior, executed with full awareness of its dishonesty, and Jesus is about to commend it anyway. There is no version of this parable where the manager's actions were ethical. He was actively defrauding his master a second time, using authority he technically still held but had already been told he would lose. That is precisely why the next verse is so unsettling, and why so much teaching quietly moves past it instead of sitting inside the discomfort. Part 4. The master praised the plan, not the theft. Luke 16 verse 8. The master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than are the people of the light. The word for shrewd here is phronimos, the same word used elsewhere for wise builders who dug down to bedrock and wise virgins who kept oil in their lamps before the bridegroom arrived. Jesus is not praising the dishonesty itself. He is isolating one quality inside a dishonest act, decisive, forward-looking calculation, and holding it up as something believers consistently fail to practice with far better material available to them. Let that land. The rebuke in this parable is not aimed at the dishonest manager. It is aimed at everyone listening who manages an infinitely better set of resources, time, opportunity, relationship, purpose. With less urgency than a man who was actively being fired managed his final hours of theft. The manager understood his deadline with total clarity. Most believers treat their own deadline as a vague, distant concept that never quite requires today's decision. Part 5. The moral dilemma this parable refuses to resolve for you. Tell me honestly in the comments, is it possible for someone to do something wrong and still be modeling something you desperately need to learn from them? Jesus does not answer that tension for you here. He leaves the dishonest manager fully guilty and fully instructive in the same breath, and most teaching flattens that discomfort instead of sitting inside it. If a man committing a second act of fraud can still teach you something true about urgency, what does that say about the excuses you have been making for your own delay? Part 6. The application Jesus draws out is not about ethics. It is about urgency. Luke 16 verses 9 to 10. I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves, so that when it is gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Jesus pivots immediately from the parable to a direct application, not use dishonest methods, but use present resources with the same urgency the dishonest manager used his. The lesson was never about copying his ethics. It was about matching his sense of how little time remained to act, and applying that same clarity to resources that will actually outlast this life. You have been managing what God gave you, your time, your calling, your relationships, your resources, like someone who assumes tomorrow is guaranteed and today does not require a decision. The dishonest manager knew exactly how many hours he had left, and it changed everything about how he spent them. He did not need to become honest to become urgent. He simply stopped waiting for a better position before he acted with everything he had left. You do not actually know how many hours you have left either. The only difference is whether that fact produces calculation or comfort. If you want to see what it looks like when someone finally stops asking God for the wrong thing entirely, watch the video on screen now. You are not asking for the wrong things. You are asking from the wrong place. Type, I receive this, in the comments if today you are choosing urgency over comfort with everything He has already placed in your hands.